And we're live. This is Catching Up with KJ, episode number 81, episode number 93, because we've tried to do it a dozen times before this. But I think we finally got it all figured out. Chat real quick and just make sure you can hear me okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. How you guys doing over there? Can you hear me in the chat room? Check it out real quick, like. Can you hear me? Room? Anybody? Double checking. Okay, good. Thanks. I got some people. You can hear me now. Awesome. Go ahead and again get rid of I love chicken. I already see one of our first trolls coming through. That'll be one. Keep your eyes out for all the trolls. Really, it's just probably, as I always say, I think it's like one of three people that have a ton of accounts. Bye, I love chicken. You're not wanted here. Play with you. But good. Well, I'm glad you guys can finally hear me. It's awesome. We got a lot to talk about. Let me know, as always, if there's any issues over there with the chat tonight, or with the show if you can't hear me. But so far, so good. So far, so good. You probably hear Chubbs. He hears me talking. When he hears me talking, he comes around and he starts getting into trouble because he wants attention on him. Good boy tonight. We'll see. It's a nice night outside, and I left the back door open. I have an elevated porch, and he likes to hang out there. His chubby butt out there tonight and not be a bad boy, you know? We'll see. Here he comes. Hi, Chubbs. Chubbs. Huh? Why don't you go outside? Why don't you go outside? Okay. Well, you're good. That's all right. So you can still hear me. Again, if you're new to the show, if this is your first time, sorry, but we had like a lot of issues on the show over the last few weeks, just trying to get one going. I did everything I could imagine to get it fixed. I want to throw out a special thank you to my friend here on YouTube called DJ Link 111, because he helped me a lot with all the issues. I see Natalie Ann 101, who I've never seen before, saying, so KJ was a crisis actor, huh? Yes, I'm going to tell you my story. I've seen some idiots out there trying to say that I was compromised by the CIA, or the Illuminati got a hold of me, and crap like this. I'm just zero tolerance with any of the BS. That's just the way I am. So if my mods miss you and I see you talking trash and being an idiot, I'm not saying you were, but there'll be those that do. Bye. I'm blocking you myself. It's idiotic, and pardon the expression, it's incredibly retarded to say stuff like this. So, with that being said, I don't want to be, an angry grandpa over here. So, with all that being said, wait, I already got somebody saying that theirs is buffering and they can't hear now. Please don't F with me tonight. Please. I'm not in the mood. I really hope you're not kidding around, because so far it looks like it's all running smooth. I'm pretty sure we got the issues finally fixed after everything I've had to do over here. I think it's finally good. So anywho, what was the problem? I don't know, man. I tend to look at everything in the spiritual, but I saw all the other possibilities, like technical issues and things like this and everything else. And I don't know. DJ Link helped me out a lot. I think I got things fixed. I think we're cool. Whatever. Thanks, guys. Good to hear. I think we're okay. So lots to chat about. Also, I want to say this. I've got my dryer going in the background. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but hopefully not. But there's a new show I want to start doing here on the channel. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, but it's also a big thank you to you guys, to my friends, subs, and supporters. For those of you who support my work through Patreon, through donation, anything like that. Now I got Mike Wazowski saying it's not working. Mike, I swear to you, I hope you're not screwing with me, okay? It's good for everybody else. If I catch any of you effing trolls in here just trying to mess with me, and you're already on the Dookie list, Mike. So be careful, okay? Be very careful. Very careful with me. I'm not in the mood. All right, not in the mood. I'm going to continue going. Start a new show. It's going to be a weekly news roundup on Fridays, where I'll do a live show like this, and I'll show you the news that I've been picking up throughout the week. Because the way I make my videos is I go every day. I'm searching news every day. You know, I put all this stuff in little folders, and eventually when I make videos, I use bits and pieces out of each little folder. But there's a lot that I never tell you guys about, and I think they're really interesting stories. You know, the kind of news that's going to come through my filter is not going to be like Fox, CNN. It'll be nothing basic. You know, I don't even really get into politics. It's going to be some of the fun stuff, the weird stuff, and just observations and synchronicities I see out there. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. Again, a big part of me doing this is also a huge thank you to those of you who support me on Patreon through donation. And I also recently got a new sponsor, my first sponsor. And again, that's something I never looked at in the past. But, you know, to be honest, at this point, the way with YouTube and everything, how crazy it's been, you know, we got to do what we got to do, some of us, you know, without compromising ourselves or our values. You got to do what you do, or do what you got to do just to keep a show going. He's called Silver Colloidals, and they're out of Austin, Texas. And he's a great young guy that's running the place. He's also a chemist. He creates products for your home that you can use to replace products you have in your home that you're buying from Walmart or wherever else. These products are owned by the 5 same corporations, right? This is where we get into the Illuminati stuff. Narcissistic resistance. Good to see you, sir. Killing us through chemicals. There's chemicals in our food, and there's chemicals in your chemicals. There's chemicals in your household products, your deodorants, things like this. So silver colloidals is a good alternative to that stuff. So anyway, I'll be linking up, you know, their website underneath videos and shows from here on out. And I've also got a sponsor section on the website. If there's any other companies out there that may want to sponsor my work in the future, please hit me up. Email me at thescariestmovieever@gmail.com. I normally, like I said, I've never done this, but I talked to Dean on the phone for several hours and also looked at the site and checked out the products. And he's a great guy. It's a Christian-run company as well. Beyond that, though, is talking to him, I can tell he's not just using that moniker. Like, hey, I'm a Christian, trust me. Like, I talked to this guy, and we connected, and I trust him, and I think he's got great products. So that's all I'll say about that. So anyway, it'll be a weekly show on Fridays on my channel. It'll be a show like this, but I'll show you through a screen share or whatever. Maybe I'll use OBS. It might be easier. And show you all the weird articles I find in videos and pictures, okay? So I hope you like that. Should be a lot of fun. All right, cool. I checked back on the chat, and we're looking like we're good. So that's awesome. Hey, thank you all for being here. Thanks for hanging with me, and thanks for all your patience over the last few weeks. This has not been fun to deal with. You know, it's been a real issue, and it's definitely tested my patience. You know, we worked through everything. I appreciate the prayers as well. You know, I mean, it's what are the issues? Are they strictly technical, or is there spiritual aspects to it as well? I always like to think it's probably a mix in some of these kinds of cases. You know, for everybody. Good to see you. I'm checking out the chat. Bobby Boucher says, thoughts on Joe Rogan? I don't even listen to him very much. I listen to the Norm Macdonald podcast. I like him just because he's weird and he's kind of funny. I've heard some Joe Rogan, but, you know, Joe Rogan doesn't believe in Christ, and he's definitely more in the New Age aspect of things. So I take his information with a... Some people will be like, oh, look, that's a New Ager, or that's a Muslim, or that's a Jew, or whatever. And since I'm a Christian, I can trust nothing these people say, because there's truth in all forms, truth in all people in one way or another. I believe you have to have the Holy Spirit. You can discern that in all the people you meet. Truth is all around. But I don't really trust Joe Rogan much. I listen to some of the shows. I probably like his commentary on UFC fights more than I do his actual podcast. So there's that. Hi, Michael. How are you? Carrie O'Neill. Effie's here. Thanks, Effie, as always. One of my mods, my best mods out there, but longest running mods. Ford says, what's the name of the podcast? It'll be right here on my channel on YouTube. Probably just called, I don't know, KJ or something, or I don't know what I'll call it yet. I'll figure something out. Tells me he has some ideas, so I'll probably let him get in my ear a little later. So let's see here. Yeah, Matt Hammond. I like Norm Macdonald too. He's just weird. He's a goofball, and he has some interesting guests. You know, he's got. It's always nice to see these people outside of mainstream interviews, like Adam Sandler and some of these other people, and see what they're all about. And Jim Carrey, just ones that I've seen on there. Although obviously he seems to be out of his mind in some ways. He's taken an enlightened path, more of the metaphysical new age, of course. But it's interesting because he likes to paint. I don't know if you've seen that video of him painting. And he paints a lot of images of Jesus Christ. So that's interesting too. I don't know. So check that out. It's interesting. But he's a bit out of his mind. I've done some videos on my website about Jim Carrey. Crazy and cuckoo. Now I got Ryan Howard saying, hell yeah, what's wrong with your audio? Ryan, if you're effing with me, I swear you're gone. I've never heard of you before. So if you're another troll that's going to screw with me tonight with my volume or my audio, you're gone. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and bump you now. That's how zero tolerance I am. Bye. Hope you enjoyed the show for a few minutes. But I'm so done with these issues and the trolls that'll come in and try to screw with us. Bye, Ryan Howard. Go watch something on TV. We don't want to play with you here. Okay, thanks. Cool. Well, the noise is my dryer. Unfortunately, it's really loud on my end, and it just started going off a few minutes ago. Thanks. Good point, Effie. My mods will let me know if the connection's bad, so I'll keep an eye on the mods. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Jacko, how you doing? Good to see you. Bees non-GMO seed hoarding means, unless you're talking about the seed bank in, I think it's in Switzerland or something. They have a place where they have all these seeds collected and saved. Maybe it's Switzerland. I'm not sure. But good to see everyone saying you can still hear me. You can't hear the dryer. That's a good thing. Somebody said ignore us plebes. I never look at you guys like that. You're not plebes. This is a community. Sweden. Thanks, Michelle. How you doing, Michelle CH, Sweden? All right, good. Sounds like looks like we're still going good. So let's go ahead and jump into some stuff here. Oh yeah, Living Soul RP. Jim Carrey's next film is going to be taking on the role of Terrence McKenna. Yeah, I know, and I think that's obviously I think that's what started his kind of right now. And maybe like many people, his awakening will eventually lead him to Christ. Some people start on, when you're locked in that matrix and you finally wake up, it takes a lot of things to wake you up. And maybe it's one of these half-truth type situations, like a David Icke, Jones, or, any of these kind of people. They wake you up, they break you out of the matrix initially, but then as you grow in your path and your walk, for enlightenment or for understanding or to be awake, then you start realizing as time goes on that, the people that woke you up initially, some of them aren't necessarily good people. And you keep moving and working towards that goal, which is awesome, of finding the truth. And I think the ultimate truth, in my opinion, is Jesus Christ, is God, is the devil, is the Word of God. That's the basics. Weird stuff. There's everything in between, which is where we are now, in a world where the veil is lifting, and we're seeing some frightening things, some amazing things, some beautiful things, all kinds of things. These are very exciting times, Okay, man, Jinioki girl, how you doing? My Russian friend HM, I always call them because I cannot pronounce their name. Truth, always good to see Brian Murray. Awesome. And Effie says minor audio issues, but keep going. All right, cool. I'm going to keep going. A little bit, just go ahead and tell you guys the situation, the story about the crisis acting that I wound up doing about 2 weeks ago. So let's see. I'm going to take a drink here. And cool, my dryer is finally off. So let's see here. K Smalls says, me too, Effie. Does that mean you're having sound issues, guys? Or is everything still good before I tell you about my situation? I'm thinking it's good. Looks like you're still good. You can still hear me. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to go ahead and just get started on this. So here's what most of you came here for. The crisis acting experience. Okay, so I'm in the Oklahoma area right now. I moved back to the States in December. And, you know, a few weeks back, I started seeing the story popping up all over the place, mostly like alternative news sites. An event coming to Oklahoma City. It was called Operation Vigilant Guard, and they needed people to come out and act injured for them. So it was a crisis acting type thing. And I saw this advertised on a lot of the websites. There's one website that's really dangerous. I was going to do a video this past week, then for whatever reason I got busy with other things. I've done some videos on the website, by the way. If you don't see videos, YouTube channel, go to my website, whoiskgosborne.com, and there's always videos there. You know, usually I'm uploading more there than I am YouTube. But there's a website you got to be careful of. It's called yournewswire.com. I see a lot of people run stories, make videos about stories from yournewswire.com, get hundreds of thousands of views. And these people are the worst. They're some of the biggest fake news out there. So I think I should go ahead and do the video, because I saw another video a couple days ago from a guy, again, following a couple of their news stories. You know, stuff like AZ shape-shifting into a reptilian on a flight, or Nicole Kidman exposes everything about sexual Hollywood elite pedophiles and stuff. And when you start finding these stories and you follow them like I do, and like everybody should, to find out the truth and the original source, all roads lead to Your Newswire. This seems to be the place where a lot of these really wacky fake news BS stories come out of. And then I see tons of people in the so-called truth community grabbing these stories and making videos on them, and then they'll get their hundreds of thousands of views and stuff like this, but you're not spreading the truth. And that's what's most important for this, because it muddies the waters and it makes us all look like crap, you know. So yournewswire.com, huge fake news, some kind of a paid psyop. But check it out for yourself. You'll see. Look at all these. There'll be some real stories in there, because that's the best way to deceive people. Give them some truth and a little bit of deception. So just be careful. Okay, man. So here we go. Okay, so I started seeing the story popping up about this event, Operation Vigilant Guard, and I started thinking to myself, well, I'm in the area. It's pretty close to where I'm at. It's about 25 miles away or so. I need to get into this and see what it's all about. You know what I mean? It just makes sense that somebody who's awake should get into something like this, infiltrated, if you will, and see what it's really all about. So, you know, I went online, I filled out a questionnaire thing for them. They sent back an email shortly after. They have to do a background check on you before you can, you know, be a part of it. So they had to run a background check on me, and then they offered me the thing to come out there for 2 days. Like 12-hour days, but they offered me to come out and do it, so I did. So what was it, a Monday and a Tuesday I went out there. This is a couple weeks ago, and you had to be there really early, like 6 in the morning, and it went till 6, 7 at night. So I was driving out there in the morning. I hate waking up that early. I haven't woke up at like 5 in a very long time, but I did it. I woke up, had some coffee, I was hitting the road, and that's when I started getting a little bit nervous. I wasn't nervous before, because I figured out, whatever, we'll see what this is all about. But then as I was driving in, I started getting nervous, like live. I've never done any one of these things before, so I didn't know. I was like, what if this event goes live, or what if I get put on a list, or something like that. I don't know. All these questions start running through your head because you're not sure. I've never done this. So I finally get there, and it was at a whatchamacallit, not a VA. It was gosh, it's a place that a lot of like retirees go and drink. They're like little bars and stuff. Something, not a VA. It's help me out in chat if you guys know what I'm talking about. Is it called a VA? It's a veterans something. A VF. It's a VF. They call them VFs. They're like little clubs for veterans, for retirees and stuff, and that's what it is. So we all met at this VF. That's it, a VFW. Thanks, guys. A lodge. Yeah, a lodge. A Legionnaire's lodge, right? And all the cars were parked in the lot. Again, I don't know anybody here. I'm just drinking coffee and getting ready to do this thing, praying about it, because again, I don't know what I'm getting into. Finally, we all went inside this VFW, and it was just like a hall. It was like a huge room, and they had all these fake clothes on like 4 tables, just a bunch of Goodwill type clothes, pants and shirts, because we were going to be victims. And it was we were victims for the reservists. So the reservists, sometimes you have to cut your shirt open or cut your pant leg open to fix something or whatever. So, it was a total role-playing thing. So they had all the fake clothes there. Bunch of people just standing around, all kinds of different people. It was like black, white, brown, yellow. I mean, it didn't matter. It was just a real microcosm of America, I guess. It was different ages, different sexes. Predominantly, though, interestingly, at least to me, it was mostly women in their 50s and 60s was what I saw there. Like family folk. There was nobody that seemed sinister in there as far as the acting goes. There were some people that were saying that they were actors and actresses, but we're in Oklahoma, and there's not a whole lot you can do. Maybe they're kind of, blowing up the truth a little bit, or commercial or something. You never know, So there's some of that, but not much. So all these people, and then the guys come in, the reservists, and they start explaining everything. And what they do is that about, maybe a quarter mile away, they had this setup. It was like, some kind of destruction. And they would take us over there in buses after we'd put on these clothes. And then we had to get in certain areas there and act injured. And then the people would come through and, triage or whatever they needed to do, EMT stuff, or take you to ER, urgent care, whatever. They do that is that I had to go through like 6 times that day. So every time you go through once, you go back to the VFW, you put on a new set of fake clothes, tag, which tells you what your injury is. And then you go to these makeup people. So they had this group of like 5 people that do makeup. It wasn't Hollywood makeup people. It was nothing like, they weren't military. They were all individual contractors. They did their own thing, but they worked for different companies that provide makeup for events like this. So the event will call into a company and say, we need makeup for a week over here. They call their independent contractors. All those people come to the state, and then they help out. That's how that works. Independent makeup people. And they did amazing work. I mean, they had to put, like, on me, on one of the times I went through, they had fake guts on me coming out. It's pretty crazy looking, like all these fake guts pouring out of my stomach. I had different contusions and abrasions, and they'd actually put these, like fake bones. If you had a bone break, they put a fake bone on your forearm with blood all over it and goo. I mean, it all looked really good. It was very professional. So that part was interesting, It's really, really well done. So that's what it was, man. You get your makeup on, you get your fake clothes, you're with all these strangers, you get on a bus, they drive you a quarter mile away, they put you in this area that's all looks blown up and destroyed and stuff, and then you got to walk through and scream, help, help, or whatever. Some people are ambulatory, which means you're able to walk. Some people aren't, they're in the prone position, they're sick, their back's broken, whatever. And it's just a mix. It's a whole military exercise. And it occurred to me when I was there and I started doing it, I was like, wait, I've done this. I was in the Coast Guard 8 years. I was a corpsman, a medical person myself. And for 3 months, I went down to Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, and I helped them with these same kinds of drills, the Marine reservists down there. And we were the ones who had to come and like triage and, check all the injured people and try to help. And I had to do that for like 3 months. So I was like, wow. And I haven't been in the military in well over like a decade. So, you forget things. I was like, okay, I've done this before. I get what this is. So anyway, man, and like I said, it was fairly innocuous. The people who were in charge, it just took me back to my military days. These are all like friends I knew, they're all just like, I know these people, I get it. There were a few things that kind of stood out that were kind of interesting. I talked to one of the guys that was the trainer, that was helping us out. And I asked about these events. I was like, because he works for an independent contractor that does these events for the military. All right. So he's one of the team. And I was asking him how long they've been doing this. It's like years they've been doing it, where they're based out of, how big are how many people work for them and stuff like this. Out of him is, I was like, how often do you guys do this? And he told me, they're basically always doing something with little breaks in between. But he said that over the next few years, they're basically booked up. He said like over the several months ago and into the next few years, he said they've got tons of events coming up where they're doing this. I was like, oh, really? Okay, interesting. So there's an uptick in that. Okay, so that was interesting. Another thing that was interesting is when they put us in the place that was destroyed, they called it the Oklahoma City Heart Hospital. And the Oklahoma City Heart Hospital is 30 miles away from the place I was. I thought it was weird that they're calling it the Oklahoma City Heart Hospital. It's away. They could have called it anything. They didn't have to call it anything. They could have just said, well, you're in a warehouse and it blew up or something. You never know. But they give us the story that it's the Oklahoma City Heart Hospital that had been blown up. And we were all people that were working in there. So that's kind of weird. I haven't seen anything happen at the Oklahoma City Heart Hospital yet, but perhaps that was some kind of things to come. I don't know. I hope not, but drink. All right. Thanks, Effie. I agree. We're doing good. I think the issues are fixed. We're smooth, folks, everything. We're doing good. So that's that. Another interesting thing is when I was up there during the day, one of those days, we were about to go through and act like we were in the Oklahoma City Heart Hospital and all that. The bigwigs showed up. So I did see a bunch of bigwigs show up. Oh, by the way, there were no non-disclosure agreements either. I didn't have to sign anything saying I couldn't talk about stuff later. I assure you, I promise you, okay? There was no non-disclosure agreements for me. I don't know how all these run. They may have some of these things run where people actually sign non-disclosure agreements. Bond with this company that you will not talk about anything you've seen or done or whatever. And they do that in Hollywood all the time. When I used to be on shows and we were filming on location, I had to hand non-disclosure agreements out to people so they'd agree not to talk about the things they were seeing on the show. You see, so the same thing works for these events, I guess, but not for me, so they didn't do non-disclosures for us. So we're able to talk about this stuff, right? So no non-disclosure, but one day showed up, and this was interesting because he was a bunch of guys in typical military garb, but there was a one-star general with them, which was a really big deal, especially for someplace in Oklahoma. So there's a one-star general surrounded by troops, and flanking him on both sides were two men in full navy blue jumpsuits, and behind them were three guys in suits, wigs. Interesting thing about the guys in the blue jumpsuits, though, on the back it said they had no name tag, and on the back it said NORCOM. So these guys were from Northern Communication. This is connected to the Department of Defense and the Pentagon. So they had big wigs there from the Pentagon with a one-star general and some weird guys in suits behind them. I thought that was interesting, and they came walking through and inspecting everything, and whatever. It was a big deal. Everybody got quiet when they came through. So those are the big wigs. So I don't know. Again, it's interesting. There's an uptick in more of this training. You've got really big military people, especially people connected to the Pentagon, in the middle of some small town in Oklahoma, checking this stuff out. And it's the heart hospital, which is still up and standing right now. It's fine. They could have called it anything, but they called it the Oklahoma City Heart Hospital. So I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. I'm trying to think of anything. And this is it. Like I said, guys, there are some interesting things, but mostly, honestly, it was boring. I was getting tired. I haven't had to work a 12-hour day in a long time, and we really were working. We had to stay busy. And I met a few people and I talked to some people there here and there, and they were all really nice. I mean, one group I thought was interesting was I found 4 young guys that were hanging out, they were friends together, and they were from Louisiana. I mean, they're probably 20 to 22, early 20s, maybe late teens. Good friends, you could tell they've known each other for a long time. But these 4 guys made a career out of this. What they do, and they started this a couple years ago, is they follow these events around and they sign up for all of them. The trainers, and the trainers knew them by first name, even in Oklahoma, and they've been doing it all across America. The reason they do that is another interesting point, I guess, is this stuff, you make a lot of money being a crisis actor. I worked 2 days. I got $375. You get $375 for doing this stuff. And these guys have been on these things that go 1 week and 2 week at a time. So they're pulling G's. They're pulling G's out of this. A couple grand for a little bit of, standing around and acting goofy and having fake makeup put on you. And, you get fed. They feed you all day. Coffee there. I mean, it's really not the worst gig in the world if you're a young person and just want to travel around and see stuff with your friends. So I talked to those guys and I tried to get stuff out of them. Like, have you ever seen anything weird or fishy? Or I was like, have you ever been in an event and then like the next day something actually happened that was similar to it and stuff like that? And they said that they hadn't, but they said they've heard of stuff like that happening, that there would be an event somewhere like 30 miles away or an hour away, but in this other area, like something like that was actually happening. And I was like, yeah, that's what I wanted to start getting into here, but I didn't want to go too deep with anybody. And I don't think these guys were in the mood to talk that kind of stuff. But I wanted to say, yeah, this happened a lot, Aurora shooting was one, 9/11. I mean, you name it. There's always seems to be these kind of crisis acting events happening around the same time there's an actual event or a false flag as we see it, right? So it's interesting, So I'm going to take a little short breather here and I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to mute just for a second. Okay, guys? We're still doing good, though. Looks like we're doing all right. So thanks again for being here. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful that, we're clean, we're clear here, and it's really nice to be talking to you again. I'll be right back in just about 30 seconds. Twitwit snuck in the back door. I just saw her show up. Good to see you, Twitwit. FEK Smalls. Always good to see the mods here and all the rest of you. Hi, Travion. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. And so, so that's about it. Like I said, the people I met were average, ordinary people who are looking to make a few extra bucks. A lot of them seem to be retired. Them were unemployed and just need to make a few extra bucks. That's kind of the pool of people they were pulling from. There was me. I filmed a little bit of stuff inside there, like inside the VFW when the guy was talking to us, but it's really nothing. Like I said, there was nothing to really film. I mean, it was just a typical exercise, something I remember doing when I was in the military. But, it's interesting that they're using civilians because back then it was all military people involved in these exercises when I was in it, out and trying to help the people. And the people we were helping, a lot of them were Marine reservists, laying on the ground sick and damaged and hurt and stuff like that. Now it's the reservists going and working on civilians doing this stuff. So it's interesting. I don't know how much I think the crisis acting being paid for, it's a fairly new phenomenon over the last several years, I'm guessing. So maybe that's a thing where they bled it out into the public sector. Now they get the people involved. It's interesting. So yeah, so that's about it, man. I mean, we saw the big wigs, we saw the suits with sunglasses, we saw the guys from the Pentagon there. Most of the people were just everyday average, nice people. I had a lot of regular just conversations with people there, nothing big, nice people. And, there were no non-disclosure agreements to be signed from us. So that's it, man. I mean, that's the kind of the experience there. I'm going to jump to the chat in a second. You can ask any questions if you want, but that was my experience doing this, you know. Of course, I don't know how all these events work. I don't know if some of them have non-disclosure agreements. There's obviously been a lot of last several years, you know, a lot of things that seem real fishy and weird, whether they're hoaxes or partial hoaxes. Hidden shooters with patsies. There's a lot of that stuff. Mind controlled patsies, I believe. All kinds of madness happening. And then you'll see some news reports where you'll see people on the news talking about the people that had passed away. And some of these people come off and bad actors at that sometimes, you know. So I don't know. I mean, it's a mix. And that's why I always say in this day and time, where as crazy as things are, we really have to use our logic, our reason, skills, spiritual discernment as well, because a lot of people get sucked into that rabbit hole and they can't pull themselves out, and then they auto hoax. You know, everything's a hoax, nothing's real. It's a dangerous mindset. A lot of people call things a hoax before even investigating it. Now it's like, it's a hoax. Anytime there's a shooting, click, time to make a video. It's a hoax, guys, don't believe it, nothing happened here, you know, without even really looking into it and all the different aspects of these things. Because I think it's a mix of all kinds of stuff. A lot of these events they're putting out there on us and traumatizing. You know, they're trying to traumatize us. And then, you know, you add to that not only the government psyop stuff that happens with some of these false flags, but then there's the spiritual psyop, I think, that happens with like this kid that just shot up the church. You know, the more research I look into this guy and find out about his history, I mean, this guy had some demons on him, you know, for sure. So there's kind of a mix of it all, you know, the way I see it. Now, I mean, so let's see here. This is KJ. His, were you born again? And oh, have I been born again and saved by Jesus? Yes, I have. Many years ago, I was baptized and saved, and then I actually found Jesus later in life. I thought I had him after I was baptized and saved. But then as the years have grown on, I've had more experience. I realized how lost I was at times back then. So I'm still growing and building in my relationship with God. You know, it's the way it is. It's always been there. So let's see here. I'm just kind of reading the chat now and seeing what we're talking about. And if y'all have any questions or anything. Hey, DJ. So DJ Link 111 is actually in the chat now. Wonderful to give me a lot of his time over the last few days to help me on this OBS system. The OBS, like I said, maybe that's what I'll use for the live news show I'll do on Fridays. You know, I'm not sure. I've got a few days to work on it. I got a video I've got to get up on the channel called We Are Living in the Season of the Witch. And I got to get that done. I've been working on that. But in between that, I was dealing with all this stuff with the shows. And then I've been uploading new videos to my website. So once again, if you, you know, I'm always staying busy somewhere. So I'm staying busy on the website. And all of that, again, is big thanks to all of you who support the channel through Patreon or a donation, or even through the new sponsor I have, which, like I said, I've got a section on my website for him. Who else would like me to potentially, you know, be able to or help you out with your, you know, with your products, or be one of my sponsors? Hit me up on the scariest movie ever at gmail.com. And it depends on, you know, what the product is and who the people are, and all that stuff matters to me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be promoting, you know, like, you know, or K2, you know, smoke, you know, or, you know, bath salts. I'm definitely not going to be promoting bath salts. You know, it depends on the product and the people, you know, so I want to try to keep it like that. So let's see what else we got here. Just kind of going through the chat. Oh, Ronald Johnson said, what happens when you talk about it after the signing a non-disclosure? Well, the way it usually works, my experience working in LA and Hollywood and stuff, is that you're bound legally. So that means they can pursue you legally and sue you, and you'll owe them money. So I would imagine if there's non-disclosures with some of these events, like some of these crisis acting events, it'll be the same thing, but you still don't want the government saying, here, sign this. If you ever tell anybody anything about this or blah, 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 then we'll come after you. You don't want the government coming after you anyway, no matter what, right? So I think that's probably how that works. And even if there had been one, I'm sure I still would have, I don't know. I guess I could say I still would have said, I don't know. You don't want to be on a list. I was driving to the thing that first morning. I was like, am I going to be put on a list? Like, I already deal with enough wacky crap online and YouTube and everywhere else. We already have enough weird harassment and stuff. It's like, do I really want to be put on this government list? But that's where faith comes in. I really felt led to go do this. I felt like it was important for me to go see this for my, firsthand, and see it on my own, because I have questions about it too, but like I said, mine was fairly innocuous. Weird things, seeing the bigwigs there, also them saying that the heart hospital had blown up, a bomb went off in the Oklahoma City Heart Hospital. Meanwhile, the heart hospital is still standing 30 miles away from this event. So I thought that was interesting. And then also the uptick, as the guys told me, that they basically have nothing but solid work over the next year or so. Maybe that's just more signs that there's more events to come. I don't know. I'm going to scroll down a bit, just checking the chat and seeing how we're doing here. See if you have any questions or anything. Chat's kind of slow for me right now. There we go. It's a little better. Now I'm going to go back some. We're going to see what's being said. Okay. Tris, he says, KJF, Facebook deleted both my profiles, Deep Rare, and Deep Rare 2. Oh, sorry, brother Tris, that's too bad. Well, I'm still on there if you have another one you start up. I'm KJRNE on Facebook. If you're not a Facebook friend of mine, if you're out there listening, you should jump on there, because that's where I put all my new uploads, not just from my YouTube, but also from my website. So they always get everything first over there on my Facebook. Plus, I do a lot of personal things there. I talk to the people, my friends on Facebook, quite a bit there. So, it's a good place to reach me if you want to do that. That here, still scrolling down a bit. Let's see here. Unknown Echo says, what if it was a hoax? Then it makes you look like an ass. I don't know what you're trying to say here. What if it was a hoax? Then it makes you look like an ass. All I'm telling you, man, is I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you my experience. I'm not trying to effing hide anything from you. I wasn't compromised by the CIA. The Illuminati doesn't have a knife to my throat right now. There's not a Freemason with a pistol with the barrel in my ear right now. Okay, set down the glass pipe. We're going to be all right. Okay? It's going to be okay. I promise you. I promise you. Walk with me, child. Walk with me. Jeremy Swan said, did you repent of all your cursing? Cursing is probably the least of my sins, but I try to repent of cursing on the daily, and I'm actually pretty good about it. Only when I get upset, really upset, will I let some words fly. But that was, recently, excuse me, with all the audio issues on the channel and on the shows, I was getting really bent, but I may have dropped an S word here or there. Usually the only person that hears me say really bad words is Chubbs. And it's very rare that, like I said, that I'll even say anything bad like that. But it does slip out from time to time. Hi, Chubbs. You're being really loud. I wonder if the people can hear you. Come here. What's up? All right. Huh? Come here. You got something to say? Mind. Need a petting? Okay, I'll give you a petting. There you go. You may have heard him there for a second. Okay, go on. Let's see here. Still scrolling down. G34R5 is asking, what was the problem with the audio? Really share at this point, man. I mean, people who listen to me, they've seen over the last few weeks, I started a lot of tests where we tested the audio and it just wasn't clicking. And if it wasn't one issue, it was another. It's been nuts. Today I went ahead and I went to a different company. I got new internet. I got the best internet I could get, a new box and everything. I have a few theories on what may have happened, but I'm not sure. But either way, it's really good now. My internet used to be really good for the last company. They got me on a special deal. I'm thinking that deal may have run out and they dumped my internet speed back to basically nothing because all my internet was running slow over the last month or so. And I was wondering why. And then the shows started screwing up too. So it seems like once we'd fix one issue, a new one would appear. So again, I think it's a mix of just real technical type issues and then maybe a bit of spiritual issues as well mixed in. It's the way I see it. Still going to scroll down a bit here. I'm going to take a quick drink. I see some questions out there. I saw Tammy W. said, did y'all hear about Al Sophia going to be connected to cryptocurrency this week? About that. But if any of y'all do, that's cool. So still scrolling down a bit, just reading. Hey, Kyle Bowman, how you doing? He says, hey, KJ, where could I send some info that you might be interested in? You can email me at thescariestmovieever@gmail.com. Thanks. Crystal Hernandez, hi. She says she sent me an email the other day with a video. Thanks, I'll have to check it. Sorry, I know I'm behind in my emails a little bit. Okay. And thanks, Fancy the Truth. I appreciate it. They said they heart my channel. I appreciate that. We're still scrolling down a bit. Joe Roll Book, thanks for the prayers. Ty Jen, my friend. Good to see you, Ty Jen. Greenville, I know, right? He says training exercises for the military using civilians. Why? That's what I'm saying, man. I thought that was interesting too. I mean, I was a part of it over a decade ago when I was in the military and I was a medic. I worked on these kinds of events, but it was all military personnel only. Civilians for stuff like that. And now, I said a few weeks ago, and I'm like, I used to do this. Like, I remember us doing this when I was in the military, active duty. Back then, we would never even think of using a civilian. Why would you use a civilian? I don't know. But that's why I wonder, and I haven't looked into it, and I will, but I wonder how long this has been a thing. Training exercises with civilians. I wonder. So that might be something interesting for y'all to look up out there. What color were the buses? It wasn't actually a bus. It was like a train, and they had chains in there, and they put our hands on these chains, and we were all chained together in this big metal train. I'm just kidding. They were like white buses, just like big white Ford buses with like 3 rows, of seating. It was like big white buses, and they would take us in these buses over there. So that's all. Just like basically a big van with 3 rows. Oh, let's see here. What else we got? So what color were the buses? So that's that. See, the truth says, what shoes did I have on? Let me think. Oh, I had tennis shoes. An old pair of tennis shoes. And you had to wear underneath like a pair of swim trunks, which I wore, or like tight fitting like yoga pants or something. So they could put these cheap over you, and then they get bloody and gross, some of them, and they cut your clothes off like in an ER and act like they're performing on you and stuff. So that's how that was. Jordan says KJ should look into this pastor named Stephen Darby, Darby, because he talks about a lot of the same stuff. Thanks, man. I've never heard of him. I'll look into him. Scrolling down a bit. Nice to be back. I'm just saying, isn't it nice to be back to where we can talk and hang out? I've really missed this. I've missed you guys. So I hope, thanks for being here, and hope you're having a good time and chilling. We're chilling right now. And I'm going to scroll down and answer any questions y'all have, and we'll see. Shoni B said, did you work with other actors directly? And if so, did you get the feeling from any of them that it wasn't all about money? Crap, I was just reading it and the chat caught up. Give me a second. It was Shoni. Shoni. I'm going back trying to find you here. Darn, Shoni. Give me a second. I'll find that question you had. It was a good one, from what I could tell. I'm still clicking, trying to find it. I'm sorry, Shoni. Looks like I lost you, man. I'm going back and I just, hey, Days of Noah's here. Good to see you, Days of Noah. Door there. No one saw him jump in. All right, so let's go back down. Sorry I missed that, Shoni. I'll see if I can't find you again. Okay. So let's keep scrolling down. Let's see. Fancy the Truth says, did you hear Jason Aldean's lawyer was found dead after he started questioning things? Yeah. See, that's another good one. Jason Aldean was the guy that was the country music performer that was performing during the Vegas shooting event. And then there's that weird Illuminati card connection to Aldean's tattoo and a tattoo or a Illuminati card of Las Vegas. You may have seen that. But that's interesting. I guess his attorney started asking questions and was found dead. Coincidence? I don't think so. Shoni, I'm so sorry I missed your question. I'm trying to think back. It was something like, okay. No, when I talked to the actor, like actors, they were only local people. Because in a small state like Oklahoma, there's not a lot of acting. They may have an agent, I don't know, here or there, small-time agent that offers them any kind of acting work that comes through. So that's why they would be a great target. These small towns or like, more country type states like Oklahoma or Midwest or South, they probably have a lot of this. It's probably why there's a lot of these events, a lot of these exercises taking place in those kinds of states. But yeah, so most of these people are small town type actors. There's nobody there from Hollywood. People I met that claim they were actors, they're like, they're all women like in their 50s and 60s talking about how they did little acting bits here and there throughout Oklahoma. And they just didn't seem like, rich grandmas, nice people, looking to make a few bucks. They're bored, trying to get out of the house. I mean, it didn't seem like nefarious at all, believe me. Average, not that there's anything wrong with that. Jasmine Freeman, hi. Thanks, Jasmine. Still scrolling down here. Didn't miss anything, so thanks for your patience. All right, let's see. Yeah, I mean, somebody said, and it said, anyone ever notice how easily KJ gets triggered? Quick, I'm blocking you. Fair point. Okay, so scrolling down a bit here. There's a difference between a hoax and a psyop, you numbnuts. Thanks. I get it. Thanks. Let's see what else we got here. Still scrolling down. If I throw out F-bombs, not easily, but sometimes when I'm alone and I catch Chubbs like chewing on a cable to something important or so, yeah, sometimes they come out. I've gotten really good over the years. I don't do it quite as much as I used to, but that's what it is. I definitely try not to do it out in public or in front of people, unless it's like, if I'm out with the boys, my boys out here, the people I grew up with, sometimes language can get a little blue with them, but I always try to be careful with the language. I'll say that. Just throw them out there, Because even when I meet people that just cuss all the time, it's a total turnoff. To me, it's a sign of it's an intelligence issue. You know, more colorful words to use than those, right? So I'm still scrolling down here. See what else we got going on. I'm excited, man. I'll be doing more live shows again. Okay, it looks like we're good. Looks like we're back. I'll have more shows we're going to be doing now. Like I said, I'll do the weekly news show, which should be fun. Like catching up with KJ's as well. Cool. K Boogie says Chubbs is a crisis actor. That's actually funny you say that, because he's acted like really weird at times around me where I wasn't sure what his motivation was for certain actions, and it really made me question. There's a few times I wondered, could he just have signed on? Because my sister gave him to me. Country. He just kind of came up to their house. He's a friendly cat, and I'm wondering if these guys really know what they're doing. Get a sister, and of course they know where to put this cat, this crisis acting cat. And of course they knew my sister would take him in, and of course they knew my history, how much I love cats, that eventually she would probably give him to me. Really so far-fetched. The more I think about it, I think you might be right. Chubbs could very well be a crisis actor keeping an eye on me. So let's see how that plays out. He's not in the room right now, so I can talk about this. But later on, if I get real quiet about Chubbs, it's because he's in here. I keep scrolling down. Let's see what else we got here. Far behind, I think, on the chat, but I'm trying to catch up. I appreciate your patience. And let's see here. Scrolling down. Stay True asks my thoughts on 5G and smart cities. I think other people have covered that so well. That's why I really haven't got into it much yet. I mean, I may do something. If I find something on 5G that I don't think other people have seen, then I'll do it. But a lot of people have covered 5G in videos and done really well on it. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's just another example of the beast system literally being built around us. System, more control, right? More control. Weird things they're building out in New York City. Weird buildings, no one knows what they do, or those weird kind of things, no one knows what they do, and then we find out that it's connected to Homeland Security and RFID technology. So, like in some aspects, we're literally seeing them build the beast system, like in physically manifesting around us. We've seen all the symbols in media and the news, all the lies and distortion, like physical manifestations of this grid, So yeah, maybe I'll get more into it later, like in another video on 5G. I just haven't seen anything yet that I feel I could offer new to the table. I feel when other people deal with some of this stuff and they're good at it, then I get it. It's good. I don't want to be rehashing or anything. Let's see what else we got here. Jimmy and Ricky Ramsey. Well, thanks, y'all. Thanks for being a fan for a while. I appreciate you. I'm sure. Anthony Morocco, you're walking a very thin line telling me that flat earth brought you to Jesus Christ. A very thin line, very thin. It's one of the biggest psyops in the flat earth movement is this whole lie that you need flat earth to find Jesus Christ. That makes me want to punch a wall. Lying about that. Did they need to know about the freaking flat earth 100 years ago to find Jesus? 200, 500, 1,000? Oh no, but now you really need to know about flat earth to find Jesus Christ. Be very careful. Be very, very careful with stuff like that. Always makes me question people, especially if you're throwing Jesus under the bus, Yeah, flat earth helped me find Jesus. How dare you? I don't know you, but if you're one of these liars and part of this psyop, how dare you? Still scrolling down. Let's see here. Your cat's name is Dunkston. I like that. Dunkston. That's a good name. Eyes to See is asking, what's the esoteric meaning behind Sophia connecting to Bitcoin? What exactly is that implying? That's a great question. Sophia, back to the mother goddess worship. I'll look that up, man. I haven't seen that. I don't really follow Bitcoin or anything like that either, but perhaps somebody knows out there. Hi, Tina Tomazuski. Good to see you. Mia Mizi. Good to see you, Mia. Thanks for being here. HM, my Russian friend, says, hey, KJ, question. Russian collusion going on right here. Hey, KJ, question. What do you think of a Trump assassination? Some videos questioning those things. There's, of course, the whole narrative in the mainstream media about a Trump assassination or getting rid of Trump or how Trump's the worst person in history. They're setting us up with that narrative because they know that he's going to go away. Maybe that'll be the nuke and the tsunami in New York City that takes Trump out. Who knows? But seems like they know that he's going to be, or either that or they want him to be taken out one way or the other, and they're preparing the narrative for the people. This is why every time you see something about Barack Obama, because he's still in the news, even more so now lately, this God among men, that everybody loves him, that he's an amazing dude, like everyone loves Obama, you know, and look at Trump, he's a piece of trash. That's the narrative I feel like they're getting us set up for when that potentially could actually take place. Become president again, then it'll be on some world leader type, level. Perhaps it'll be something with the UN, president of the UN or something, but I'm still keeping my eye on him. He's not completely out of the picture yet. Then there's the idea that, God may be using Trump to really drain the swamp and to do some of this stuff. And if he is, then Trump's protected. He's protected until he's not. He's protected until God's done with me. I just hiccuped. He's protected until God's done with him, and then that's it. So, and as long as he's doing things that are anti-globalist and anti-New World Order, I love it. It's great. I'm not cheering so much the man on, but the actions. I don't follow any man. I don't worship a man or a woman, or a chubby little kitty. No matter how cute he is, I don't worship these things. Father, I follow the ways of Christ. So, I'm not so concerned about all this. It's interesting to watch the narrative, but I don't know. But as long as he's doing good stuff and damaging the wicked people and all these wicked systems, God uses them to just destroy it all. I'm so loving being on the sidelines and watching Hollywood burn. It feels so good. It feels so good. Like, let all these disgusting pedophiles and even just the sexual abusers that abuse people that aren't children, but let them all. I ask, Father, please, I've prayed about this. Let them all be exposed, Father. Bring it all out. Bring it all out. Destroy them. Destroy them. Let them be found out. Because these idiots, these jerks, these liars, they try to tell us what morality is through all their garbage Hollywood movies and garbage Illuminati music standards. Exposed, Father. Destroy it. I love it. Let it burn. All of it. The Illuminati music industry, Hollywood, just burn it. Let it go. Be exposed. I love it. And these politicians, bring it all out. All of it. So, those are my prayers, and that's what I'm watching for, and it's a beautiful thing. Out, So I'm still scrolling down. I'm sorry if I missed any questions or anything. I wasn't planning a real long show tonight because I wasn't even sure if we were going to be able to do a show. But it looks like we're good. I'm glad we're able to. I mainly wanted to get this situation out, the story out about my experience as a, quote, crisis actor for Operation Vigilant Guard, which was in Oklahoma City a couple weeks ago. And you may have just jumped into the show live and you missed all that. Just go back and listen. I explained everything. I think I answered most of the questions about it, but just with some interesting things I saw here or there. But, I gave you the truth. I gave you the truth of what I saw and what I felt. So we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and update the chat. So I may miss some questions or whatever. I'm really sorry if I do. But that may shoot past pretty fast. So let's see what happens. Just thanks again for being here. I'm waiting for the chat to update. Sorry, K Smalls is leaving. Have a good night, and I hope you get to feeling better. It's friend on YouTube here. Let me see here. I'm still scrolling back a bit. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Okay, let's see. Gordon McCallan says they have new facial scanners, and on top of that, the other day my bank cut off my debit card. I called them about the situation, and they said I had to get a card with a chip in it. Yeah, your bank's a little bit behind. That happened to me when I was still out in Costa Rica. I'm with Citibank. Through the line with groceries, and when I get there to pay with my card, it wouldn't go through. So suddenly I'm that guy. I got 8 bags of groceries sitting here, and I'm, it looks like there's no money in your account, right? I knew I had money in there. Oh, well, yeah, I've actually, I'll bring it back. Run out to the car real quick. Perhaps I have another card out there. And as soon as you get out there, it's time, I jumped on the bike, and I'm out of there, man. Immediately what happened. And so, yeah, that happened to me while I was out there, and technical issues, even after I got the card with the chip and everything else. It was a real nightmare there for a while. But that's, again, part of that connected to the 5G system and all that stuff, the physical manifestation of the beast system around us. Because the Bible tells us that there'll be people who take this mark, right? And they're going to have to be tracked somehow. Well, how are they going to be tracked? Well, now you're starting to see the system coming to play that's going to be able to track these people. Wonderful reason not to take the mark of the beast, right? Scroll down a bit here, see what else we got. Chunka. Just checking out any questions. Guys, I may go ahead and this one in a bit, and we'll finish on a win. But let me see. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any of the questions or anything. Let's see here. I'll do, like I said, I'll be doing some more shows now that I know we can do it, and we'll do some where we just hang out and chat, and we'll do that, guys. But I wasn't even sure we were going to be able to do a show, and now that we are, that's awesome. We know it's working again. That's that. Guys, I'm just going to talk for a bit, and I guess I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for tonight, but I've got more shows coming. In fact, Friday should be my first edition of my new weekly news roundup type show where I show you a lot of the weirder news that I catch on to and other things. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your patience, because this has been a real process these last few weeks trying to get all these audio issues figured out. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I really appreciate you, man. We got one of the greatest communities on YouTube. I'm telling you that right now. Thanks again to any of you out there that support my work, through a donation or through following me on Patreon. I really appreciate it. It's because of you I'm able to do what I do. I can take my time and bring you the best videos I can do. We got more shows coming. It's just going to keep growing. And my website, I've always got videos there that you won't find anywhere else. Okay, so please check out whoiskjosborne.com. I just did a few pretty long, big videos over there, and a couple shorter ones. One of them about the more apocalyptic trumpet sounds. I did one about people filming a huge black cube in front of the sun recently I put over there. So definitely check out the website. Again, your supporting my work is what keeps me able to just keep the website up and running and keep it fresh, keep good videos coming on YouTube, and keep more shows coming on YouTube. So God bless you. Thanks. If you're unable to help in any of those kind of ways, prayers, man, just your prayers, your encouragement, sharing the videos, liking the videos. I love you guys, man. I love you. Thank you. I'm just so happy that we can do a show again. That's kind of the thing. I was really getting bummed, but it's great to be able to come back and talk to you. I hope you enjoyed this. I told you my truth from beginning to end of what it's like to be a, quote, crisis actor for a vigilant guard in Oklahoma City. That doesn't mean every situation like that is the same. I don't know what other people deal with out there, but my experience was fairly innocuous with a couple of interesting observations. Anyway, on that, guys, I'll let you go. More shows coming. I don't want to ramble like I typically do, just over and over telling you how much I love you guys, but I do. I love you, man. And I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. God bless you. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?